Hi there, KOIN 6 Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart here, and we are talking about allergies and the pollen count skyrocketing. May quickly slipping away as we dive our way deeper into the month of June. That's where we are really starting to prepare ourselves for what could potentially be a very tough allergy season ahead. We've seen a lot of moisture over the past few months. That's allowing for all of the brush to start to grow, to bloom, and blossom as our temperatures continue to heat up here. So that's going to be something that we are keeping an extremely close eye on. I want to give you just a bit of an insight on exactly where our pollen counts typically go as we work our way through the next several months. So you'll notice in the month of, say, March and April, we go from the moderate back up to the high count. Now, those are typically the trees, the flowers that are producing a lot of their pollen. Yes, that is a cause for concern for a lot of allergy sufferers. But as we start to work our way into the end of May, the beginning of June, you'll notice it skyrockets back up once again. And that's not necessarily the trees or the flowers. It's the grasses, and Oregon is known for its grass seed, and we are definitely going to be feeling that once again as we work our way through the next several months, and then by July, we really start to see an improvement. But I do want to bring in a very familiar face for us here at KOIN 6, our very own Jamie Seymour, formerly, I guess I should say. Jamie, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing fantastic. Jamie, tell us a little bit about what you are involved with now and why we're talking pollen and allergy season together.
All right, so used some of those former reporter skills at KOIN, and now I work as an Energy Trust spokesperson. And Energy Trust of Oregon is a nonprofit here in the state of Oregon that makes it easier for people and businesses to save energy, and while doing that, save money on their bills. And we make that possible by making it a little bit easier to afford some of those changes around the house and by providing tips like we are today. And allergy season and energy, you might not think of them going hand in hand, but they do. A lot of the things that you can do around the house to keep your air nice and clean during allergy season also helps you save a little bit of energy.
And we are all about saving energy, making our lives easier, healthier. So, talk to us about the company that you are working for now and what your guys' initiative is as we kind of dive deeper into this pollen season.
Yeah, Energy Trust of Oregon works closely across a spectrum of residents, businesses, companies, nonprofits, community organizations, all doing work to save energy across the state. And right now, we're also working on just helping people save energy at home and while keeping their air clean during allergy season. And a lot of these tips can also work later in the summer during wildfire season when it comes to keeping air quality clean inside your home. Um, Big thing that we help do that for during the season is by making it a little bit easier to get air purifiers. Before I was doing this job, I didn't know what an air purifier was. And it's just a small device that plugs into your wall, and it helps circulate and keep the air clean in a room. So you can have those plugged in your living room, in your bedroom, and that helps keep a continuous flow of clean air inside your home. Not all of them are necessarily very efficient in saving energy, but Energy Trust of Oregon does offer some incentives on energy efficient models. Those are typically Energy Star models, which are the ones that use the least amount of energy possible. And so you can order those online or buy them in person at your local retailer and see those discounts directly with the help of Energy Trust of Oregon.
And that's something that you guys are really strong at doing. If you step into my apartment, you kind of hear this soft hum off in the distance, and it is those air purifiers. I almost have one in every single room because I myself am a big allergy sufferer. So when I step home into my house, I want to make sure that I am keeping it safe. But I also know that my electric bill is also a little bit higher. So finding those energy efficient models is really kind of a must. And how can people maybe reach out, get in contact with you guys to learn a little bit about where maybe the best place is to buy them, or maybe what type of brands they should be buying to keep their home purified?
Yeah, on energytrust.org, which is our website, We have a list of some of the ones that are available through retailers that you can order online with free shipping, as well as a list of retailers that are selected in person that are offering some of these with a direct discount. So again, energytrust.org, we have those available on our website. And it's just a good way to kind of look at your options, see what's available, and keep some of that clean energy and air inside your house.
And Jamie, I know maybe a lot of people don't have AC here in the Pacific Northwest. Our temperatures are getting hotter. People might be tempted to maybe open up their windows, but they're a bad allergy sufferer. What advice might you give somebody who is kind of trying to weigh the options, save money, keep their home free of those pollen and particulates, and even kind of as we move into wildfire season as well?
There's a lot of things that you can do inside your house that don't involve an air purifier that can help clean your air, keep your air clean, and inside your house. There's a few different things. So, say if you do happen to have an air conditioner or some kind of cooling unit in your house, a good rule of thumb is usually you want to change that filter or clean it about every 3 months. I'd say with the change of the season is a good way to remember it. But in times like, say, allergy season and during wildfire season, when you've got that wildfire smoke, you want to change those a little more often. So maybe about every month, every 6 weeks, because when those get clogged up, those filters get clogged up with air particles, with pollen and dander, that makes it a lot harder for your heating or cooling system to push that clean, cool air through. And it makes your system work harder, it uses more energy, and thus costs more on your bill. So, good rule of thumb, just keeping that clean, kind of consistently checking it, making sure it's clear of any debris. Other things you can do around the house is by making sure all that good air that either your purifier is keeping clean or that your system is pushing through into the house actually stays inside. So you want to seal up any of those gaps and cracks that are around your house. You don't believe how much all that adds up, but all those little gaps and cracks, say in your windows, like around the base, around your tub, your pipes, all those add up to about the same amount of energy loss as leaving a window open year round. And during this season of allergy season and all that dander and pollen in the air, you can feel it too. So a good rule of thumb is just making sure those holes are all sealed up, either using spray foam or caulking around any of those gaps and cracks in windows. You can use weather stripping, door sweeps, and those are all good ways of like keeping those spaces tight and clean without letting that good air out and without letting those allergy and dander particles in. And if you happen to say use a window air unit, just make sure all the space around there is tight and sealed. And if you are, say, using like a window air unit, just make sure that if you're try not to use it during allergy season, like when it's at the height of high pollen content, and if you must use it, just try to make sure that seal is as good as possible in closing that outdoor air damper to prevent any of that from coming in.
And, and I think maybe another good note, too, to kind of mention on that aspect, too, if you're making sure that everything is all sealed up, not only are you keeping out the pollen or the potential wildfire smoke, but we're also talking about kind of trapping in the cold air during the summer months, but then also keeping the cold air out and the warm air in during the winter months. So this kind of goes year round of something that we should be kind of considering. It's not just a spring summer event.
Yeah, these tips, they work during winter months when you're trying to keep that hot air inside. They work during the summer when you're trying to keep the cold air inside, and really during allergy and wildfire seasons of keeping the clean air inside. These are easy tricks and tips that you can do around the house. They don't have to cost a lot of money, but they can make you really safe and comfortable during these months. And especially I know you mentioned, Josh, that you've been experiencing allergy season. I am very much the same way. I've had bad allergies since I was a kid, and I'm a runner. So I've been breathing all that in outside. So it's more important than ever just be able to be safe and comfortable inside your home and just be able to breathe easy.
Oh, I think that that's the key takeaway, being able to breathe easy. I can feel it as soon as I step outside, and then when I'm at home, I'm like, I can finally take a moment to just remove myself from the pollen because so many of us here in the Pacific Northwest are outdoor enthusiasts. We want to be outside. So being able to come home and to be able to find that clean air, but then also try to help save ourselves money in the mix is really kind of a positive thing as well.
Yeah, I think we've all been, like you said, wanting to get outside. I mean, it's been gorgeous weather off and on over the past few weeks. Spring sports have been underway. I know a lot of families have been out getting involved, either just family outdoor activities or with spring sports for the kids. And so these are really important tips as well for families, especially if you've been noticing, all right, your kid is maybe sneezing a bit more, or itching their eyes. These are really important tips that, as you're busy with all these seasonal activities, is when you're at home, just being able to have the entire family comfortable and breathing okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we can always count down the days of hoping that the rain showers return. It just so happens on this day that we're recording this that the clouds moved in, a few scattered showers, because that too also kind of helps wash away any of those particulates that move into our area. And then, kind of looking in the long term, that's going to help to improve our reduction of wildfire risk and thus the wildfire smoke polluting our skies and potentially our homes. I want to reflect back. I know you weren't with your organization at the time, but 2020 with our wildfires, when they were so bad and so many people started thinking about these air purifiers. Uh, with the amount of time that you've been away from KOIN, have you been able to kind of dive in and look at, I don't know, maybe studies or the improvement of people really saying, yeah, these air purifiers work and this is a must have maybe in my house year round?
Yeah, I haven't got to do too much into the past just yet as far as the impact of air quality and air purifiers based on like those fires from 2020. But even just in the last year after doing this work, I got one of my own and started plugging that in, and it made a world of difference even during last summer's wildfires, which we know those didn't necessarily compare to the 2020 Labor Day fires, where many people, it was just the air quality was very unhealthy. And a lot of folks during those times, you want to be able to stay inside. You don't want to go out as much as we want to be outside and exploring outdoor activities in the state. Those are good times to be able to stay inside, and you just want to make sure that you prevent any of those harmful particles from getting inside your home when possible. And anything, I can't even speak to say the health benefits
Yeah.
of these, but air purifiers really make a difference. And if you are able to get one, highly recommend you use it more than just say allergy season. It's useful during wildfire season. It's useful throughout the year. I even use mine if I've been feeling a little sick, and just anything to help kind of keep that air clean. And maybe even if you can get an energy efficient model, save energy while you're doing so.
And there's a lot of great options out there too. I have the energy efficient ones. When I go to the stores, I'm always thinking, should I upgrade? And a lot of them do very clearly have stated that they are the energy efficient ones. Can you maybe talk about if you're in the market or thinking of upgrading, what type of process? And is it something, I know a lot of them have the air filters that you can actually pull out. Is just replacing the entirety of the unit something we should maybe think about after so many years, or are you pretty set once you find one, or talk me through that a little bit?
Fortunately, I can't really speak to when you can and can't replace a full unit. But it is good just to make sure that you are maintaining it, keeping those filters clean. Oftentimes, an air purifier, you may not necessarily need to replace the whole unit, but you might need to replace the filter in it fairly often. A lot of them, they will have a special light on them, and it can detect when it's time to change or clean the filter in the air purifier. So that's a good rule of thumb. Just keep an eye on that and making sure it's clean. Some do have removable filters, some have high efficiency filters, which they're called MERV. You might see that acronym. It's kind of wordy. It stands for High Rated Minimum Efficiency Reporting Value. Lot easier to say MERV.
Yeah.
But those are filters that they can catch more of those particles. But compared to standard filters, those do use a little more energy because they're much finer filters. They catch a lot more, but it also makes the system work a bit harder to get that energy or that air pushed through, uses some more energy. Not quite as efficient, but they're great at catching those particles. So it's just important during this that you do your research. Look at what kind of system may be best for you. Energy Star rated efficiency air purifiers, those are the ones that are going to use the least amount of energy as possible. They're going to be the most efficient and help you save a little bit. But there's ones designed for smaller rooms, like say, I'm in a bedroom right now, like a small office, and I wouldn't necessarily need the same one that I use in my living room, which is a very big space. So they have different ones based on, say, the size you need, how much air you need to be filtering. They have different speeds. You can go full strength if you just need like a little bit of air purifying. You can have a lower setting. So there's a lot of options out there.
There really are. And on top of not only being energy efficient and helping keep your costs down, but it is also good for the environment itself. So really great information. The pollen count, it's on the rise. We all feel it, and we all need to kind of take action and try to prevent that. So thank you so much, Jamie, for spending time with us. We will be talking with you again soon as we continue to dive our way deeper into the summer season right here in the Pacific Northwest. Thanks for joining us, Jamie.
All right, thanks for having me.